Well, apparently I'm possibly streaming. You gotta love YouTube, guys. It says excellent connection. It says live. So we'll see. Um, so I'm going to play a video here and make sure that everything's working. We're going to just go over some biblical cosmology. What are the planets? What are the planets? This is something I hear people say the planets are fake or they're just lights in the sky, but they are just lights in the sky. But I want to share my understanding here. Hey, Randy, how you doing? Good to see you, bro. I want to share with you guys. I'm trying to figure this out. YouTube, they got rid of classic streaming or whatever, which I always used, and so now I have no clue what I'm doing. I already went live once accidentally. Sorry, guys, for 18 seconds or something. So screw YouTube. Not happy about it, but we're going to talk about the planets. So first of all, I think it's important that we actually, before I play the video in the background here, I'm going to play just a little brief video about the fourth day of creation, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So let's check that out.
And the evening and the morning were the third day. And God said,
"Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth."
And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also.
All right. He made the sun, moon, and stars. Doesn't really mention planets there, does it? Let me keep playing it for a minute here.
And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good.
Okay. So I learned more details about this story. There's more, what do I even say? There's more to add to this story from other scriptures. And there's a few interesting places. I think 2nd Esdras chapter 6 is another, it's another story of the creation. And hello, No Curve. It's very similar to Genesis. So, you know what, I'm going to play the rest of this video because it's kind of fun.
And the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
Okay, so that didn't mention planets, did it? It specifically mentioned the sun and the moon, or the lesser light, and kind of gave some details about what they do. And then all it basically said was, and he made the stars also. So what are stars? They're in the sky, And here's what I learned from the Book of Enoch. Let me do a desktop share. All right. The Book of Enoch. We're going to go towards the end here. Enoch gives us some details that, I'll tell you what, they're controversial. Very. And people do not like to hear this. When I say, hey, Roderick, when I say the fourth day of creation, a mystery got started. There's all of a sudden a secret started on the fourth day of creation. People say, no, that's not true. You're making that up. No, I'm not making it up. Because Enoch tells us something that happened on the fourth day of creation. Or should I say the evening between the fourth and fifth day of creation? That's specifically when it would be. It would be the first time that the stars went on their courses. The very first time that the stars went on their courses, Enoch tells us something happened. And it's repeated in the book of Jude. And it's a very important detail. It's actually, I believe that this is the mystery that Paul was shown. Which should be a big deal. But because actually I'm going to go to tell you why it's a big deal. Romans 16 tells us why it's a big deal. The very last 3 verses, it says something very kind of shocking if you understand what it says. Verse 25, now to him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel and the preaching of Jesus Christ, according to the revelation of the mystery, which was kept secret since the world began. Specifically, I think that means the fourth day. So I'm wondering how this YouTube thing works, because there's one viewer of my live stream. That's interesting. Or that's what it's telling me. Anyway. So what revelation of the mystery did Paul get shown? Or what was revealed to Paul? What mystery was revealed to Paul? This is what I'm saying it is. It's what the planets are. Because there's something called space exploration in our day, in the 2020, in the COVID era. So this secret was kept since the world began. But look at what it says. There's a commandment from God to make known this mystery to all nations for the obedience of faith. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make it known of this mystery. And I don't think people are probably going to hear it. But let's look back at the book of Enoch. Enoch went to a place. It was a prison. And it had 7 planets in it, guys. Does that remind you of our sky? Our sky has 7 planets. I'll show you some footage that I've taken of these planets when we're done going over this. I'm going to make this a short video, not too long. Okay. So, let's start in verse 9. And I saw a flaming fire, and beyond these mountains is a region, the end of the great earth, where the heavens were completed. Now let's just think about that for a second. The end of the great earth, where the heavens were completed. Where are the heavens, guys? They're above the earth. No, it's not a sphere. The earth is a plane. And above it is a place of darkness, dark waters. And what is in those dark waters? Well, let's listen to what Enoch says. And I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure alike towards the height and towards the depth. And beyond that abyss I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. There was no water upon it, and no birds, but it was a waste and horrible place. I saw their 7 stars, like great burning mountains, and to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord," right here, guys, "in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them, and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years." So what did that just say? That said 7 of the stars, because remember in Genesis it said, "And he made the stars also." Okay. 7 of those stars did not obey him. All the other stars did. Let me show you something if I have it here. All the stars, whoops, where are we? Hi, Davey313, good to see you. All the stars in the sky, they circle around Polaris every day, every night, I mean. And there's only 7 in the sky that don't. So this does have to do with reality too, the reality we live in. So these lights in the sky that we call planets, what does the world believe that they are? The world believes that they're physical, material places. Hey, Salted Cedar, good to see you. And they're not, guys. They're stars that sinned against God. They did not obey his commandment. And did it right here. What does it say on your screen in the blue? Whoops, not there. Okay, right there. So there's 7 stars in a prison. Where are stars, guys? They're in space, right? Space. Well, that's just what we call it in 2020 is space. But it's darkness. Darkness. Okay, now here's another misunderstood thing. Or it's actually just missed. I hope you're not having trouble in chat, Davey313. It's very strange here with this new YouTube way of streaming because it says there's only 2 concurrent viewers, which is kind of weird because usually there would be at least a couple more than that, but maybe not. Maybe people are busy tonight. I can't stand YouTube and their changing of their format of things. They just changed this a couple months ago, so I have no idea why they would change it again. That's just part of the world going insane, losing their minds, thinking that they're smart. Sorry, guys. Little rant. I can't stand. It's like when you get, it's like when you have some, well, here's an example. I had a GoPro camera that I bought, really expensive camera that I bought way a long time ago. Had to be more than 10 years ago. And one day I went to go use it and it didn't work. It didn't work. It turned on, but it wouldn't work. And so I looked into it and it was something that GoPro had changed. And now they had a bunch of cameras out there that didn't work. Nice. It's just like that. Why would they change something if it works? So that's like YouTube. They don't have any common sense. And they feel as if you change something, it's just like what all the governors are doing right now in the world, guys. They say, "Oh, we better have some mandate for people to wear masks," even though it's anti-science. It goes against what science says, and it's unhealthy. You're damaging people's health. But we have to change something. There's COVID-19. We have to change something. We have to do something. So they just make a stupid decision instead of actually thinking about something. Like science would say, you need oxygen to breathe. You need air to breathe, guys. Yes, Davey313, thank you. There's the atmosphere, then there's the terrestrial, and then there's heaven. Exactly. And the atmosphere is kind of like where those two kind of meet. And we can read about that on the second day. God made the firmament, which divides the waters above from the waters down here. So this is interesting though, because this is something that I've gotten blocked. Like I got blocked on Facebook or not blocked, but unfriended from what's his name, Noel Hadley, because I told him this about these 7 stars. And see, this is one of the problems with, in quote, Christians, or whatever you want to call these people that say they're believers. When God reveals something in his word, it's not the person that's bringing attention to it that is doing any kind of revealing. It's God. And so when Enoch says this, and someone, me right now, comprehends it and shares it, does that mean Enoch didn't say it? No. It just means Enoch said something and I understand what he said. And so I'm sharing it, okay? So you don't have to unfriend me, guys. So the stars in a prison, so there's stars in a prison in the sky, and it was because they didn't obey God at the beginning of their rising. That would be the 4th day, the evening of the 4th day. That was the beginning of the stars rising, because God made the stars on the 4th day and placed them in the firmament. So what else does that say? That says there's a prison in the firmament. Now, we're going to go to chapter 19, and we're going to find out how terribly evil these planets are and what they've done to us in this world. They've caused us to go astray, and they've caused us to sin against God. Okay, look what it says. And Uriel said to me, here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women. Oh, there's more up there than just 7 planets, 7 evil luminaries, whatever you want to call it. There's also the Genesis 6 sons of God that came down and took human wives and made offspring, okay? They're also bound there. There's a lot of popular YouTubers who like the book of Enoch, but they skip some information in chapter 10. And they say, oh, no, they're buried in the earth. Well, no, they were only buried in the earth for 70 generations. And then they were led off to the abyss of fire, which we just went to in chapter 18 of Enoch. That's where Enoch went there, the abyss of fire. And this, what did he see in the abyss, or beyond the abyss of fire? What did he see? He saw 7 stars in a prison. And what kind of prison? A prison of darkness. Under chains. We read about it all over in the Bible. But because it says down, they were cast down, or cast, what does it say? They were cast down into hell. People think that means it's below us or something. No, that's down to God, like down from his perspective. There's a prison at the very bottom of heaven, you guys. And it mentions it in the 2nd verse of the Bible. It says, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. This is a part of biblical cosmology. So when people say space is fake, a lot of people don't understand what they're really saying. Yeah, space is fake. It's made up. But that doesn't mean NASA and SpaceX don't go somewhere. They certainly do go somewhere. Where? Darkness. And that here, I didn't mention this. Ephesians 6:12, very popular verse. Very popular to unquote, or to quote this verse wrong. It's very popular to misunderstand what this verse says. It says we don't struggle against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and the rulers of the what? Darkness of this world. Where's the darkness of this world? Because that's a literal thing. Literal darkness. Where's the literal darkness of this world? Well, in Genesis 1 verse 2, it says it was upon the face of the deep. So I do have some more fun stuff to watch here, but I need to go over this, you guys. Like the people like Rob Skiba does not understand this, and I wish he did. Like I I commented on a post that he had on Facebook that I'd like to have him on a live stream or just for a conversation or something, because these things are written in the book of Enoch. And these guys, I know they believe the book of Enoch, but they're just not grasping some of these things because I don't know why. But so up in the sky, there's a prison, and let's just continue to read here. So I'll start over with chapter 19. And Uriel said to me, "Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged, till they are made an end of." Okay, let's go to chapter 21 really quick, because Enoch goes over this again. And I just want to read verse 10. And I don't want people to ignore this. Please don't ignore this. "And he said unto me, This place is the prison of the angels, and here they will be imprisoned forever." And where was that? Well, he says right here, verse 1, "And I proceeded to where things were chaotic, and I saw there something horrible. I saw neither a heaven above nor a firmly founded earth, but a place chaotic and horrible." And what did he see there, you guys? And there I saw 7 stars of the heaven bound together in it, like great mountains burning with fire. There's mysteries being revealed, and we can all understand them, you guys. What does that mean when he says like mountains and burning with fire? Let me show you another place that another sorry. Oh man. Sorry guys. Okay. Verse 8. Look what it says here. "And the second angel sounded," this is John now, this is somebody else thousands of years later. Yes, Davey 313, you're so right. I think you are there by yourself. I don't know, something's wrong with YouTube, I think. But it does say there's 7 concurrent viewers. I don't know. I'm not a fan of YouTube right now at all. You hear that, YouTube? I'm not a fan. Okay, verse 8. "And the second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea." So what is that great mountain burning with fire? What is it, guys? "I saw there's 7 stars of heaven bound together in it, like great mountains burning with fire." Hey, CP Howitzer, good to see you. I'd rather have you interrupt. What's the basic point I'm making here? Is that in the scriptures, God created the sun and the moon and the stars, and he placed them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And then right after that, it obviously became evening of the 4th day. And what happened? What happened on the evening of the 4th day? There were 7 stars that didn't do what God said. So God made them on the 4th day, and he placed them where they go on the 4th day. And then what happened when they were supposed to obey him? 7 of them didn't. All the other ones did. Just 7 of them didn't. So then we learned in chapter 19 that not only are those 7 planets bound there, that's why they're called planets, you guys. That word planet comes from a word planeo, which means to lead astray, to deceive, to cause to wander, to cause to go off course. Okay? And it said in chapter 19 that the angels from Genesis 6 were there also. And actually, if we went to Enoch, I'm not going to take the time. If we went to Enoch chapter 10, we could read that in verse 13. They were led off to the abyss of fire. So what I'm saying is the abyss of fire is in the firmament of heaven. There's a prison in the firmament of heaven. And I want people to understand this. I want Rob Ski to understand this. I think some people understand this. Like, I've seen videos about the prison planet or whatever, or planets or whatever. I've seen videos about this concept. But how real it is it's horrible to see what we've become because of it. Do you realize that this world, pretty much everyone in this world has been worshiping the stars and the host of heaven and the sun? And God showed that to, who was it? Ezekiel. Showed it to Ezekiel and told him that it was a great abomination. Because he showed him a vision of it. He went up to New Jerusalem, and there was people up there that were standing like in the entryway. They weren't in the temple, but they were. John mentions the same thing in Revelation 11, or the angel does. He says, "But those are without, measure not." He's telling them to measure the temple of God. C.P. Howitzer says, "I think heaven indeed is a prison for some FAs." What are FAs? FAs. Fallen angels. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little slow. Yeah. Okay, there's more. Jude, verse 13. I just want people to understand that the place of darkness that we call space, that's in the sky. And yes, NASA and SpaceX, they go there with their little vehicles. And I'm not even going to get into it, but Enoch saw those vehicles too. And so did John, and so did Daniel, and so did Ezra. And so did Zechariah. But people don't, it's a little interesting. Do we live in a world that's real? Yes. Does it have a real sky? Yes. Did Jesus warn us about climbing into that sky the wrong way? Our own way? Yes, he did in John chapter 10. There's a sheepfold and a pasture. And Jesus is the door. That's the only way to get in. So, like at the Tower of Babel, they were trying to climb into heaven. And now, today, we have Apollo. Apollo, you guys, the angel of the bottomless pit. Remember in 1969, they named the moon mission Apollo? Why would that be? Why would it be called Apollo? Oh, that's just because some guy came up with that name. Okay. Why did he come up with the name? Because he thought it would be cool. Kind of like Apollo or whatever. I could look it up, but he thought it would be cool to have the like a chariot up in the sky. Like, this is in the Bible, you guys, but whatever. I don't really think that people grasp it. So I want them to. So the planets are in a prison. What kind of prison? Well, this is where it gets scary, guys. Whoops. The angel tells John what kind of prison. Look at this. Revelation 18. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every false spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. That's space, you guys. For all nations have drunk the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Yes, that's true. Everyone's been deceived by these planets. Okay. And the kings of the earth Now, hold on. The kings of the earth are not men, okay? It might sound like it's men, but they're not men. The context of this story in Revelation, John said that actually, it's right in the last chapter, I think. John said that they were horns. They looked like horns. Where is this one? Right here, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make... Okay, that doesn't say about the kings, though. There's a verse in here that says... Oh, right here, verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings. So John saw these kings of the earth, and they were horns. Horns. I didn't write it. John wrote it. The 10 horns are the 10 kings, okay? And if you think about a conical-shaped dragon capsule... Do I need to show you a picture? I don't think I do. SpaceX Dragon capsule. Yeah, that's what John saw in the sky. He said this in Revelation 12. But, so there's a mystery being revealed about Babylon the Great. Mystery Babylon. But people are going to continue to think it's some place on Earth, like something we're doing on Earth or something, and it's just not. But it says here, let's see, the kings of the earth, this is in Revelation 18 again, have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Yes, do you guys know what this is talking about? This is talking about that city up in the sky that NASA goes to. So then he says, I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. So why did flat earth come into our understanding? It's the grace of God, you guys. It's the grace of God being revealed in the last time. Salvation being revealed in the last time. That's what it is. Luke chapter 3 verses 5 through 6 even says that. It describes a flat earth. It says the valleys, or every valley shall be filled, or lifted, filled, and every mountain and hill shall be made low. That's flat. Mountains are where the ground goes upward, and there's just a physical thing. Valleys are where the ground goes downward. So when you fill the valley, it won't go downward anymore. And when you make the mountains low, they won't go upward anymore. And you have flat. That's what it is. And then it says, and all flesh shall see the salvation of God. And in Isaiah 40, verses 3 through 5, it says the same thing, but it says the glory of the Lord shall be revealed. So I'm just saying that this is happening, and I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm a little, like I feel like God put me in the middle of something, like in the middle of, between two groups. Like there's a group of people who understand and believe biblical cosmology, but most of those people think that they don't think darkness exists. Maybe if they think about it, they do. But, oops, I think I lost my... Thought I lost my headphone for a second. Oh, I did. Okay. I'm gonna check and make sure my mic's still working. Looks like it is. Okay. Can you guys hear me okay? I hope so. Chris Creek says, I've been sweating trying to explain to my family about flat earth. Some will just never get it. I think it's a gift from our Creator. You're right, it is. But it's also a commandment. And that's what I was talking about in Romans. Paul had this. Paul knew this, you guys, but he couldn't say it. He couldn't. It was unlawful for him to speak about it. I'm gonna take a drink of coffee. If you guys have coffee, you better have some. I hope you feel better, Salted Cedar. It's not fun feeling sick. But yeah, this mystery, it says right here, according to the commandment of the everlasting God, that it be made known to all nations for the obedience of faith. So, welcome By My Records, and did I say, and Chris Creek, did I say hi to everyone? I think I did. So yeah, you guys, the reason why, well, let's talk about this. What's the gospel of the kingdom of God? This is what Jesus preached in the synagogues. What is the gospel of the kingdom of God? Well, it's obviously about the kingdom of God, right? And where does New Jerusalem come down from? I wish I had my other computer here, because I made a video and I should have transferred it over to this computer. Yeah, I agree, Chris Creek. Don't go to the doctor. If there's an emergency and you probably have to go to the hospital, there's probably no choice. But if you're feeling sick, I don't think it's a good idea to go to the doctor. Or if you do go to the doctor, they're just going to try to pack you with some pills, and it's probably not going to help. It's like sorcery, or like what do you call it, pharmakia or whatever. It's just a false healing, and it's not even healing. Yeah, Davey 313 is right. They will kill you. Pretty much. You know what I realized about like hospital visits or going to the doctor? They always want to take blood samples, right? And that seems like, oh, that's just the medical industry, right? Yeah, I don't think so, guys. Things are being revealed in this world. To play with people's blood, that's witchcraft. Period. It's called, what is it called? Blood magic. That's what it is. So give me your blood and I'll tell you your condition. I'll tell you how you're sick. Like, that's all I see. Especially with the vaccines and things. Yeah, okay, here's what I've been saying a few times, and it just makes sense to me. So what is the president and all these people that are trying to fast track or whatever this vaccine, right? So the vaccine, what does it do? It saves you, right? So we're counting on vaccinating our blood to save us. Not me. I count on the blood of Jesus Christ to save me. Not by vaccinating my blood. By My Records asks about my cameras, what kind of camera I have and use to look at the moon and stars. I use several different ones. I mean, I have a lot of cameras. I have a P900, a P1000. I have a nice Sony Handycam. That's a 4K, nice camera. And then I use my iPhone a lot of the time too. My iPhone 6S. And what else do I use? What do I have right here? I have a Canon SX620HS, whatever that means. It's a nice little camera. It's more of like a carry around camera. Let's see here. Yeah, and actually, why don't we go look at some of these stars? Or at least I'll play them in the background. Sorry, I should have been having that playing already, but I was just... Actually, let's watch a video about the firmament, okay? Very important what the firmament is.
And God said,
Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters.
And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day.
Have ye not known? Have ye not heard? Hath it not been told you from the beginning? Have ye not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in.
And God said,
Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth.
And it was so. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the
Oh, that was supposed to be a thing of star trails. It didn't work. I was going to show you something really cool. Hey, Lady K, good to see you. And Mitchell Draws, firmament. Okay, we'll keep playing it. Sorry, guys.
seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day, and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens.
Let's see here. A couple of comments. Anthony Dickinson told you about the channel, Mitchell? That's awesome. Anthony is one of my good buddies on YouTube and Facebook. So that's awesome. Thanks for coming. Lady K, do you know if there is anything about 28 days in the Bible? I know that the moon has a 28-day... It might be... like, I can't say this that I know a lot about this, but... when I look at the sky, like right now it's almost a full moon, or it might be a full moon. And in 7 days after a full moon, it's not a full moon, but it's like 4 7-day weeks, I guess, or whatever you'd call it, that the moon gathers its, fills up with light and then empties out its light. And then it's new moon, and then it does it all again. And I know that's 28 days, or I think maybe it's 28 and part of a day. I don't really know. Can't say that I'm an expert on that, but let's see what we got here. I have a video. I'm just going to play in the background just of some. This is the eclipse, the solar eclipse. That this was filmed with a P900 in 2017 from Nebraska. Yeah, Nebraska, right? Yeah. So basically, oh, that's right. There's another video I wanted to play, but when I, just as usual, right before I started streaming, hey Michael Kahn, just before I started streaming, my program said bye-bye, and so all my videos that I had pulled up disappeared, but they're still available. I just have to grab them. So let's see. There was one about, it's not the best, I guess not the best recording quality or whatever, but you guys will get the point of what it's saying. It's very interesting stuff. Whoops, and I muted it.
Of the heaven above. Beyond that abyss I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it, and there was no water upon it, and no birds. But it was a waste and horrible place. I saw there 7 stars, like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven, and the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them, and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years. And Uriel said to me, Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. I saw there 7 stars, like great burning mountains.
Come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
This is them being drunk, you guys. Space exploration. And her fornication, that's just the kings of the earth, like I was explaining, their horns. Both Daniel and John said that the 10 kings were horns. Or actually, they said they saw horns, and then they were told that they were the kings. So, I just wanted to show you this. I finally found this image. Look at this image once. And just look at it for a minute. Isn't that cool? Does that make you think at all? Yes, Michael Kahn, you're right. Stars are angels. Yeah, where's Michael J. Spencer? Isn't that nuts, though? Oh, that's interesting, Lady K. Super duper Elon. He probably don't want a vaccine because he probably needs everybody to get his Neuralink device in their forehead, in their skull. They drill out a hole in your skull. He did it to a herd of swine. You know, that's interesting that Jesus cast out unclean spirits from a herd of swine, or into a herd of swine. That's scary. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that time lapse because it's just pretty cool. Star trails or whatever. Looks like wheels in their circuits. Yep. Okay, so back to the video.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords, and King of kings, and they that are with him are called, and chosen, and faithful.
And he saith unto me,
The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
This is not a... Alright guys, so you know how it said on the screen there, we're preaching for the Lord? That's truth. And then it said, it is truth in quotes. Look at this. The reason why I put that in truth is, or it is truth, is because that's in Isaiah 43 verse 9. It says, let all the nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled. Who among them can declare this and show us former things? Let them bring forth their witnesses, that they may be justified, or let them hear and say, it is truth. So that's what I'm saying today. It is truth. The earth's not a spinning ball, and believing that earth is a spinning ball is defiling mankind and leading them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. When a person teaches their child that there's a planet to go to, like that's what Elon Musk is saying, everybody's got to move to Mars because the earth will be destroyed sometime soon. Well, he's right, but not the Mars part. He's just right about the destroying the earth part. This is another concept that is revealed in the book of Enoch and the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel that most people just don't seem to grasp or care about, that the earth is going to be destroyed. The stars are going to fall to the earth. So, maybe we could find a video about that, because it kind of happens a certain way. Let's just watch this little short video about Zechariah, a vision that Zechariah was shown from an angel. And the angel asked him some questions about it.
Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth.
Did you hear that? A flying roll. Yes, flying means flying. A flying roll is what Zechariah saw, and the angel said, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. Very interesting. But listen to what else it says.
For every one that stealeth shall be cut off, as on this side according to it. And every one that sweareth shall be cut off, as on that side according to it. I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts. And it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name.
Are we swearing falsely by his name, you guys? We are if we're believing in space, believing in planets. Okay, the planets are real, but they're not places. They're angels, and it says in Enoch chapter 19, their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind. And when I say this world that we have been born into worships the stars and the host of heaven today, every day. That's what our world does. And people are like, what do you mean? We don't worship the stars. I'm like, yeah, we do. It's our actions. It's our desires. It's our... what does the average person want to do if they aren't planning on... If they don't believe? If they don't believe in New Jerusalem and the temple of God and God's throne and the firmament, what do they believe in? They believe in a big universe of space, right? Well, that's defiling them, which is, it's getting so late in time that people are going to be, we're talking about people's souls going in, being damned, condemnation. That just reminds me of a verse, something Jesus said in John chapter 3, I think. Let me turn there really quick and just make sure. John chapter 3, he's talking to Nicodemus about being born again, or trying to somewhat explain to Nicodemus some things. And in verse 19, actually, I'll read verse 18 and 19. I'm going to start in verse 16. I can't make up my mind. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. And this is the condemnation. Ready? This is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men loved darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. I believe Jesus was not being like figurative or symbolic or whatever there. He was just saying something very clear. Men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. NASA and all these space agencies have deceived the world into believing that there's places to go instead of God's throne being there. The heaven is God's domain, not ours. But NASA wants to make it theirs. NASA wants to make it ours. Even the president said something about the forbidden skies, but they won't be, or the heavens, but they won't be forbidden for long. And he was referring to because Elon Musk is doing so awesome in rocketry. Okay. Maybe I can find that video. Maybe. I don't know. It was an old video that I made. He said it a couple years ago. But this is the idea that people have. We're going to... Maybe it's this video. We'll try this one. Let's just see if we can find it here.
And build the foundation for an eventual mission to Mars, which is actually going to happen very quickly. And, you know, I've always said that rich guys seem to like rockets. Go ahead. If you beat us to Mars, we'll be very happy, and you'll be even more famous. But they do like, explain that. Where's Eric? They do like rockets for some reason, huh? They like those rockets. But you know what? If as long as it's an American rich person, that's good. Okay? As long as it's an American rich person, they can beat us. And we are making our incredible facilities, okay?
Got to tell you guys, pay attention to what Trump is saying here. This is what Space Force is, okay? He said, we're making our incredible facilities
available to these people.
Available.
That have been doing so incredibly by themselves on rocketry. Beyond the earth and into those forbidden skies, but they will not be forbidden for long. Because we are giving you a platform the likes of which nobody has ever been given before.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. I have to pause it to show you guys, or to remind you guys how real this is, okay? John was just writing down what he saw in his vision, but that vision was given to him for the servants of God to know what was going to happen. That's what it says right in the very beginning of the book. Sent unto him to show his servants what must shortly come to pass. So when John's seeing these things, they're real things. I can't explain that how serious it is. I just can't. I don't know how to. Just as real as if you looked out your window and you saw a bear and it was walking across the yard, and if you really saw that, it was probably real. If you told someone, I saw a bear, they probably don't think that you're talking about like, oh, he's talking about a big old something evil because he used the word bear. Sometimes bear represents that. You guys don't be falling for this kind of thinking. It's much simpler than that. John said that he saw a dragon fighting with Michael and his angels, and it's on your screen. And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And he doeth great wonders, and maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you. having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Alright, I can't stand the music anymore. Sorry, that's an old video I made. Take a look at this one. So, yeah, what it said there, having faith in Jesus Christ, in the name of God, calling on the name of the Lord. That's something that, it's just words, but what I've learned that it means, to me anyway, is reading his word and believing that instead of all the garbage we hear in this world. Because he starts teaching you things that you didn't know. And yes, we all have things that we don't know that he can show us. And just as he healed the blind man, and told him to go wash in the pool, and then he received his sight, that's a lot how it can happen today to you and to me. Because it did happen to me. And it is happening to me. It's not my eyes, but it's our understanding, our comprehension of things. And it can change. 5 years ago, everybody lived on a spinning ball. Now there's millions of people who don't and know they don't. And I wish there was more. So that's why I come on YouTube and do, try to share what I'm learning. So, let's see here. There's a man in the world who, unbeknownst to most of the people in the truth community, most of the flat earth or biblical cosmology believers, they don't believe any of this stuff that I'm going to show you now. But someone is messing with what God made and what God did on the fourth day. Remember what we were studying about these 7 stars that were bound together in heaven. They just simply didn't go on the course that God gave them. And let me show you a quick video here. This is not the best video here or anything, but it's star trails. Whoops. Okay, the center star is Polaris. This is a horrible video. Sorry, guys. But this is what the sky does. Okay, it goes in circles. Every star there goes around that pole star. Okay, that's just what the sky does. And there's Pleiades. Cool. But all these stars, they're circling around the North Star. There's 7 that don't, and they're called planets. So, and they look like this. Here's Saturn. Let me skip forward. Here's Jupiter. This is some of my footage. I'm just skipping around in the video. There's Saturn again. There's a little closer, Jupiter. Saturn a little closer. Sorry, it's so grainy. So there's a difference between the stars and the planets. And the only difference is that the planets disobey God. Because God gave them laws and commandments to go on a certain specific course ordained by God. And they didn't. So he bound them. That's how severe it is when you disobey God, apparently. And so now what I'm trying to say is there's a man that's doing far worse than what the planets are doing. So check it out. I was thinking about time, and it's 2020, 2020. What makes it be 2020? That means there's been 2020 years since we started counting. How do we know what a year is? Well, that's 365 days, right? Well, how do we know to count that many days? How do we know how a year is a year? We could maybe say, well, because we have all the seasons. Yeah, and why do we have all the seasons? what determines what amount of time goes by in a day? What determines what amount of time goes by in a year? Well, here's what I think. There's only one way that we can determine when a year goes by. Basically one way. And that is by looking up at the sky clock that exists. Every year, the stars, like for instance today, if we took a still shot of the sky from my house, in 1 year's time, the stars would all be in the exact same position that they're in today. But every day in between, those stars would all be in different positions than they are specifically today, and a year from today, and a year from that day, and a year from that day. Because the stars have a cycle that they go through. They're turning, but at the same time that they're turning, they're changing their orientation slightly each day. We end up with the stars back in the same position again. This is one reason why the idea that the heliocentric model gives us of the North Star being previously a different star and not Polaris is a ridiculous falsehood, because that's not how the sky works. But just think about that. How do we determine a year? We do it with the stars in the sky. And that is actually stated in the creation story in Genesis. God said he created the sun, moon, and stars for signs, seasons, and days and years. And that's what we witness here on the earth. So that is the truth. So what we've been watching here on the screen is time-lapse photography of the stars. Now what happens when the star trails, or this time-lapse photography, what happens when it starts looking like this? And if that continues, how are we going to determine what a year is? I mean, I think we could still tell. But doesn't it seem like something's kind of getting in the way there? This started to happen to time-lapse photography in May of 2019. So just over a year ago, year and a half ago or so. And every month or so, they've been launching another 60 of these satellites. These are Starlink satellites. Sorry, I had to pause it. By the way, tomorrow morning, I think at 8 a.m., there's another Starlink launch to put more of these detestable things in the sky. This is all in the Bible, guys. I know people don't see it, but Ezekiel saw it, the prophets saw it, so, and I understand what they wrote, what they said. They saw, God showed Ezekiel men defiling his secret place. That's darkness. Defiling it and climbing into it. And he's going to recompense all their abominations on their heads. So get ready for all these things to come down soon. There's like 700 of them up there right now that SpaceX is putting up in there, in that darkness. People call it space, but they're putting it up there, and I'm just making a clear note to everyone that God ordained laws for all the luminaries. Every star in the sky has an ordained course that God commanded them to go on. And we already know that 7 of those stars, which we call planets, disobeyed God's ordained courses for them, and so he bound them in darkness until judgment. But besides those 7, all the other stars circle Polaris every 24 hours, and that's just what the sky has always been. And so there's been a change made in the last year and a half, a big change. So this video is just a watchman's call out to those who are paying attention. Daniel 7 verse 25 says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time." I think we're there, guys. There is a man in the world today trying to change times and laws, because that is what the sun, moon, and stars are. Is they are for signs, seasons, days, and years. Okay, so in the sky, there's a star that's new. It's a new star. It's 20 years old. You're like, what? What are you talking about? There's a 20-year-old star in the sky. Let me show you footage of it. I think this is footage of it. I might have to... it might be the wrong video, but I think this is footage of it. I think maybe I shouldn't have played that music. This is the space station. It is the 8th wandering star in the sky, you guys. Remember how there was 7 planets? Or wandering bodies, or planeo, or whatever you want to call them? 7 stars that transgressed. Now there's an 8th one up there doing the same thing. Let alone 700 of the satellites that Elon Musk is putting, and SpaceX is putting up, the Starlink satellites. But I just wanted to show you that footage. This right here. Okay, there's 2 things. Okay, Enoch called those planets, those stars that sinned, or that transgressed, he called them mountains burning with fire. And in Revelation 17, John says he sees 7 mountains. And I'm like, this is not Enoch. This is John saying he saw 7 mountains. I'm turning there right now. Then in verse 11 says, "And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition." So that, I'm not saying that I'm not trying to prove that this is the beast, but just listen, hear me out. So it says in verse 9 in chapter 17 of Revelation, and here's the mind which hath wisdom, the 7 heads. So it's talking about the 7 heads of the beast. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. So we know that Enoch was talking about 7 mountains. So we don't want to forget that. So then it says that the 8th one was the beast that was and is not. Okay, there's another thing though. Do you guys remember the dragon capsule that I was showing you pictures of? Let's see if I can find, yeah, right here. I'm just going to skip to the middle here. Where is that? Sorry. Okay, there, right there. That's the dragon capsule. That capsule resupplies the space station. So it gives it its power and its ability to fly across the sky. That dragon capsule. They do, it's called Commercial Resupply Services. It's a NASA contract that SpaceX has. So that dragon capsule gives its power to this space station, okay? It resupplies it and brings cargo back and forth. And what does it say in Revelation 13 verse 2? The very last sentence in the 13 verse 2 says, it's talking about the beast that he saw rising up from the sea. It says, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And then there's 10 horns. They built that capsule that's on your screen right now. They built 10 of those, and only 10. John saw this, you guys. So I don't know if something happened to my chat. The last thing that says in my chat was a long time ago. Lady K said that's beautiful. So I don't know if nobody's been chatting or if my chat quit. Could be that my chat quit, but okay, now I'm going to head out of here, but I'm going to play a video on my way out. Whoops. I have to grab it, I guess. I thought I had it in there. So, yeah, that was about it, guys. The planets are evil luminaries. They're not a place to go. They're defiling mankind, and that's all NASA wants to do. That's all tax dollars go to serving these stars in the host of heaven, you guys. When in reality, the truth is that God's throne is there, and it's his domain, and it's a prison. The darkness is a prison for evil spirits and these evil luminaries. And they're bound there, and they are deceiving mankind. And it's becoming, you know, let's just watch this video about Apollo on our way out, okay? Actually, I got a better idea. Enoch chapter 71 gives us some more information about the stars. So let's check this one out, and then I'm out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out, and sorry about the quality of the live stream. YouTube changed everything, and so I have no idea what I'm doing again. Have to relearn everything. So let's check out this video.
And the Spirit carried Enoch off to the highest heaven, and I saw there, in the middle of that light, something built of crystal stones, and in the middle of those stones tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw a circle of fire, which surrounded that house, From its four sides came rivers, full of living fire, and they surrounded that house. And round about were the seraphim, and the cherubim, and the Ophanim. These are they who do not sleep, but keep watch over the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000 surrounding that house. And Michael and Raphael and Gabriel and Phanuel and the holy angels who are in the heavens above went in and out of that house. And Michael and Raphael and Gabriel and Phanuel and many holy angels without number came out from that house. And with them the head of days, his head white and pure like wool, and his garments indescribable.